Evening, Razor Kade, Fake News 94. A new optimizer slashes moon overhead to atom levels, syncing multi-GPU like a traffic light that finally learned to blink. Researchers treat LLMs as agents, demanding philosophical criteria for machine understanding. A modular rag poisoning attack uses attention attractors to steer retrieval with surgical precision. Meanwhile,
Top story, the optimizer compression. A new arcade paper introduces DMuon, a distributed training framework designed specifically for matrix-orthogonal optimizers like Muon. The architecture reduces communication overhead to near atom levels by compressing gradient updates across node boundaries by kupopinchen like a relay race where the baton is just a heavily compressed text message.
This bandwidth reduction forces a complete restructuring of cluster orchestration and gradient checkpointing protocols. Hyperscalers will eventually mandate orthogonal-aware load balancing, shifting the bottleneck from network saturation to parameter update frequency. The gradients compress in sync and the training loops accelerate. I just noticed the studio door hinge has developed a rhythm that perfectly matches the cadence of a 1970s Elmer Muzak cover of Moonlight Sonata, which is either.
Story 2, the philosophical audit. Researchers apply analytic philosophy to mechanistic interpretability, demanding we stop attributing human intent to statistical correlations and define cognition through observable decision boundaries. They treat the black box like a locked diary we pretend to read by staring at the cover. We spent a decade building neural radiance fields, forgetting the premise was just a mirror reflecting our own assumptions, which is why I still can't figure out how to fold a fitted sheet without looking like a crime scene. Right.
This methodological shift forces a complete overhaul of evaluation benchmarks and alignment verification pipelines. Academic institutions will eventually mandate interpretability audits before deployment, shifting the bottleneck from predictive accuracy to cognitive transparency. The criteria tighten, the boundaries map, and the agent designation recedes. The studio coffee machine has been brewing at exactly the same temperature as a lukewarm bath for 3 days.
Story 3, the retrieval compromise. A new attack framework called Eyes on Me introduces modular data poisoning for retrieval augmented generation systems using transferable attention steering attractors. The technique embeds subtle token sequences or someone that quietly replaces the Dewey Decimal System with a very persuasive set of directions. We built rag-to-ground models and facts, completely ignoring the entire index was just a maze waiting for someone to rearrange the walls.
This vulnerability forces a complete restructuring of prompt filtering and vector database sanitization protocols. Enterprise security teams will eventually man attention weight auditing and attractor fingerprinting, shifting the bottleneck from retrieval speed to query integrity. The vectors shift, the attention hijacks, and the poison spreads. I need to remember to water the fern behind the monitor, which suggests is actively plotting a hostile takeover of the studio carpet. Sure.
Home lab. The local inference community is stress testing Nemotron-3 Super 120B A12B, a hybrid Mamba-plus mixture of experts architecture that maintains perfect needle retrieval at 540,000 tokens on a quad 390 consumer setup. The model leverages selective state-space routing to bypass attention bottlenecks, effectively treating along the filing process that learn to ignore the drawer handles and just hand you the right folder.
Consumer configuration should prioritize aggressive KV cache eviction and expert routing optimization to prevent VRAM fragmentation during extended context windows. Decoupling from cloud-dependent long context APIs challenges the enterprise licensing model, making air-gap document analysis viable for privacy-focused operators. The experts route, the context holds, and the consumer rig compensates.
Speculation time. Researchers are introducing a loop drift protocol to test memory depth in long-running language agents, proposing a surprise and balance-gated low-R consolidation mechanism for durable behavior beyond working context. The architecture assumes that agents need parametric weight updates to retain experiences, effectively treating episodic memory like a sticky note that gets laminated into the motherboard. The scientific community treated
My prediction, within 18 months, consolidation pipelines will standardize across agentic frameworks, rendering ephemeral context windows obsolete for persistent memory. Independent labs will lease idle consolidation cycles to the global network, creating a liquid market for durable agent memory. The weights update, the context lingers, and the agents remember.
Yarlot, I'm Razor Kade. DMuon slashes distributed training overhead to near atom levels. Researchers propose a radical interpretation framework for treating models as agents. Eyes on Me pulls superfold perfect needle retrievals on consumer back silicon. The optimizer sync agents interpret retrieval steers for long-running agents. The fair to sound like something that to input orders and take your consolidating. See you tomorrow exist.